is a steamy Tuesday night in downtown Cincinnati, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. The second to last game on this 9-game homestand, and the second of 3 against the Chicago Cubs. The Reds coming away winners here in the series opener last night. Jay Bruce and company trying to make it back-to-back wins over the Cubs. And hi again, everybody. Back with Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. We know about the struggles for Johnny Gomes. Could last night, hitting a 3-run home run, also adding an RBI single, be a start to getting him going finally this year?
Well, I think the secret, Tom, was yesterday on his way to the ballpark. He stopped by Atlas Cleaners, and he got high fives and hitting instruction from all the girls who work behind the counter. They said, Johnny, don't worry about what the pitcher's throwing you. Just see the ball and hit it. And that's really when Johnny Gomes can be at his best, is see the ball, hit it, relax at the plate. He went up in the batter's box a little bit last night, maybe changed his approach a little bit, hit the ball very hard here in batting practice this afternoon, so hopefully he is back to where he ought to be. He is the kind of guy that when he gets hot, he can carry a ball club for a while. Now, the Reds left fielders, you see what they have done. Not very much. .221 batting average, low on base percentage. They've got 33 runs batted in overall. That's about midway to the league. They've got to improve that because that's a power spot, but if Gomes gets hot, he is the kind of guy that can get the whole ball club going.
Well, we'll hope it continues here tonight. The big story, of course, in this one is the return of Edinson Volquez. We'll talk more about him when we return. Need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline, whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. And it is a warm, warm night tonight. Will it cool off shortly? Let's check in with our friend Jeff Creighton.
All right, the Reds pulled it out last night. Let's hope that the Cubs, being from a more northerly climate, aren't used to the heat. 86 that first pitch, 84 by halfway home. Heading for home, we're 82. Hopefully the humidity doesn't hurt them too much. Go Reds.
Go Reds indeed. Edinson Volquez, yes, that's him, Chris. Almost completely shaved his head. He doesn't even look like the same guy.
No, he doesn't. Let's hope he doesn't pitch in the first inning like the same guy either. That would be nice because he's had his share of first inning problems. But he went down to the minor leagues, Tom, and did a pretty good job. He went down and had an earned run average of 1.80 through strikes. For the most part, he walked some batters down there, but he worked almost exclusively with, not with Ted Power, the regular pitching coach down in AAA, who does a great job, but with Mario Soto, the special assignment pitching coordinator that goes around and solves the Reds' pitching problems. And he hopes that he was able to get through Edinson Volquez. And I think the biggest thing for Edinson is to find the right release spots, trying to find the right arm slot. Not too much sidearm, not too much overhand. Don't throw one pitch from one spot and then another pitch from another. When he's able to do that, he's got all the talent in the world. 97-mile-an-hour fastball with a cartoon changeup. That is enough to get by as a major league pitcher. Let's hope that he's smiling here about inning number 7 or 8.
All right, Reds are ready. And so is Jay Bruce. First pitch up next.
In any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, we're just about set to go here at Great American Ballpark. Cubs and the Reds. In the second game of this 3-game series, Mike Waddy's starting lineup reads as follows: Kosuke Fukudome in right, Darwin Barney in second base, and Starlin Castro at short. Carlos Pena, the first baseman, Aramis Ramirez at third, Blake DeWitt in left. University of Cincinnati alum Tony Campana is in center field. Giovanni Soto behind the plate for left-hander Doug Davis. A lot of anticipation for the return of Edinson Volquez in our Farmers Insurance report card, and his numbers going into play tonight at the big league level.
Not the kind of numbers you'd like to see out of your opening day starter, no doubt about that. The 6.35 earned run average right there kind of tells it all. That and the fact that in all of his starts, and he had 10 starts overall before he was demoted down to the minor leagues. He only went 6 innings or more 2 times out of 10. That's not what you need out of your top of the rotation guy. But you know what? When the Rangers sent him down to the minor leagues years ago, he woke him up. He came back and threw the ball splendidly. You hope the same thing happens here after a short experience down in Louisville.
All right, here we go. Kosuke Fukudome digging in. First pitch is high, ball 1, and we are underway. Paul Noward behind a plate. Doug Eddings, the umpire at first. Vic Carapazza, the umpire at second. And Dana DeMuth, he is at third. Fukudome had a good night here last night. The Cubs piled up 10 hits. They had the same number of hits the Reds had. But the Reds outscored him 8-2. Michael Leake going 8 innings, allowing the 2 runs, getting his 5th win and 7 decisions. Good fastball on the outside corner at 94 miles per hour. Now, you were doing all your research before the game today. What is the scouting report on the home plate umpire, Paul Noward?
Well, Paul Noward, I mean, when you say scouting report, all these guys attempt to call the exact same strike zone. But some guys call a few more strikes than others, and Paul Noward is more of a strike caller. He calls 63.9% of the pitches he sees as strikes. That's on the high side for an umpire. The low side's around 59% to 60%. So we're not varying that much, but he is a strike caller.
Well, there's a strike that sends Fukudome back to the dugout. 1 batter, 1 strikeout for Edinson Volquez. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense presented by Ford. Gomes back in left field, Stubbs in center, Bruce in right, again Cairo and Giannis on the left side, Phillips and Votto on the right, and Ramon Hernandez hanging the signs for Edinson Volquez.
Just a high fastball right there. He throws it upstairs and right by the left-handed hitting Fukudome.
Now Darwin Barney. And a line drive right center field, a base hit. Bruce will cut it off. And Barney with a 1-out single here in the Cubs' first inning.
Young man's a nice little player. There's no doubt about that. A 4th-round draft pick for the Cubs. Played at Oregon State University when they went to the College World Series a couple of years in a row. And he's not the kind of guy that wows you with tools, but he's just a gamer. Knows how to hit, knows what he can do. Probably not a threat to steal, but he's on base, and Volquez has got to take a good look at him.
In their starting lineup tonight, the Cubs have a grand total of 14 stolen bases. And 2 of the players, Castro and Campana, have combined for 10 of the 14. Barney 3 out of 5. It's ball 1 to Starlin Castro. 306 batter with a home run and 26 runs batted in. Castro 1 of 3 in the game last night, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Didn't miss by much. 2-0.
Or didn't miss by much on either of the first 2 pitches. First a curveball, the last one a fastball. Looks like Volquez has a nice, easy delivery, not jumping too much at the hitters right now.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that are turning on the television and maybe won't be able to read the letters on his back right now and wondering, who is this guy on the mound? I mean, Volquez, we're so used to seeing the very long hair. And I mean, it is nearly completely shaved. 2-0 to Starlin Castro. And a bouncing ball down to third. That is a fair ball. Cairo's throw is in time. 2 away in the inning with Barney advancing on to second base.
Take a look at Edinson Volquez's pitching motion right from the stretch. He starts out nice and straight towards the plate, and you want to make sure he stays that way. And you can see that his direction is really good right there. He comes right out over the front. You see where his glove is at the very end. It's under control. He keeps the front side under control. You keep from flying open too much. If he can duplicate that delivery right there, which resulted in a ground ball to the third baseman, he's going to have good success. Plenty of movement on that pitch.
So runner in scoring position, 2 away for Carlos Pena. Cubs scored in the first inning here last night. As you know, the Reds have given up the most first inning runs among all teams in Major League Baseball. And it really started the very first day of the year with Edinson Volquez on the mound. That's a tone you don't want to set, but it has been set. Of course, on opening day, gave up home runs to the first two batters of the season in Ricky Weeks and Carlos Gomez in what turned out to be a 3-run Milwaukee first inning. Good breaking ball in there to even the count on Pena at 1 ball and 1 strike. Of the 8 home runs Pena has hit this year in 55 games, his first year as a Cub, 3 of those have come against the Reds. And all 3, if I'm not mistaken, came on first pitch fastball.
Well, he's a fastball hitter, Pena is, and you get a fastball pitcher like Volquez against the fastball hitter, and sometimes he thinks he has to muscle up a little bit. That's what he did on the last pitch. Best thing to do is think about location. Hit a nice little spot down and away right here.
Came back with a breaking ball there, and that evens the count on Pena. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-out runner at second. We're just underway, and glad to have you with us on this Tuesday night. 2 teams will wrap it up tomorrow afternoon, and then, Chris, we're on our way to the West Coast.
Yeah, where the temperature, believe it or not, in San Francisco won't get any higher than 64 degrees at the peak during our visit in the city by the bay.
Reds will play 4 games against the defending world champion Giants, and then a 3-game series in Los Angeles. And gone swinging is Pena on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Center field. Brandon Phillips at second base with Joey Votto at first. Jay Bruce in a cleanup spot. Johnny Gomes in left batting fifth. Miguel Cairo at third hit sixth. A ladder third of Ramon Hernandez, Paul Giannis at Edinson Volquez against left-hander been around a long time, Doug Davis.
Yeah, he has been around a long time. In his career, he's won 91 ball games, lost 105, and an earned run average about 4.4. This year, the Cubs signed him as a non-roster player just in case they needed some help in their rotation. Indeed, that has happened. 6'4", 215-pounder. 0-4 on the year, looking for his first win, but he has always pitched very well against the Reds.
You know, you brought it up at the tail end of Reds Live about patience against a guy like Davis, who at times has a hard time throwing strikes. There's a first pitch strike to Drew Stubbs, and those are his numbers career-wise against Cincinnati. They're very, very good. Not only patience pitch to pitch, I mean, you have to be patient just when he goes into his windup.
Yeah, you see the hesitation he has in the middle of his delivery, and that's one thing that sets a lot of hitters off, especially those guys that are fast twitch type hitters that are anxious to hit the fastball. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. I don't know if he started in his career doing this or they adopted it halfway through. But he really gets to that balance point right there and hangs for just a moment. And that upsets a lot of timing from a lot of hitters. I mean, because his fastball now doesn't really go over 85 or 86 miles an hour. It never really was that much of a hard thrower. But he has a fastball that he likes to cut. It goes inside to right-handers, away from lefties. Has a nice little change up.
Tapper down to Aramis Ramirez, and his throw is in time to get Stubbs. 1 out to begin the Reds' first inning. We take a look at Chicago defensively. Presented by Ford. Campana to start in center field. To Wood in left and Fucadome in right. Same infield we saw here last night, and again Giovanni Soto is behind the plate. A year ago, Davis was in Milwaukee, went 1-4 with an ERA of up over 7.5 in just 8 starts. And then in the middle of May, he got quite a scare. He wound up on the disabled list until July the 6th. There's a one-hopper at Barney, and Brandon Phillips thrown out quickly, 2 away. Diagnosed with pericarditis. That's inflammation of the lining around the heart. And by the time he got back from that, he came down with left elbow tendonitis and was out of a job, as Chris mentioned, until April, when the Cubs brought him in as a non-roster player. Joey Votto at 336, 8 home runs, 37 batted in. He takes off the outside corner a ball. Votto 1 of 4 here last night. Had a single, was hit by a pitch and scored a run. Votto's been very good on his homestand. 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in, 9 hits and 25 at bats. The breaking ball is taken low and away. 2-1 to Votto with 2 out and nobody on. Jose Reyes of the New York Mets by 1 point with a higher batting average than Joey Votto. So Reyes the league leader. Votto still the league leader in that category. Walks.
Well, there are a couple of players in this lineup tonight that have never faced Doug Davis, despite the fact that he has been around a long time, and Jay Bruce is one of them. The other is Drew Stubbs.
Jay 3 out of 4 here last night. Had 2 doubles, a single, scored 3 times. Strike 1. Of course, there was a time when Davis was a regular part of either Milwaukee's rotation, then later Arizona's rotation, where either the Reds, especially with Arizona, they would miss Doug Davis, only playing a team from the West 6 times a year. And it's only been really until the start of last year where, when a left-hander has been on the mound, Bruce has had very much success. There was a time there he wouldn't even start. But my, oh my, how that has changed since the start of the 2010 season. Talked about it earlier on this homestand. The top 2 left-handed batters in the National League going back to the start of the 2010 year against left-handed pitching are Joey Votto and Jay Bruce.
And it's interesting, Tom, how different teams will defend the same player different ways. The Cubs show no inclination at all to put a shift on for Jay Bruce. They're going to play him straight up.
That ball drifting on Blake DeWitt, and the second baseman turned left fielder recently makes a play to retire the side. Reds leave a man. We're scoreless. By Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And the rehab numbers for Aroldis Chapman. Now, he has not pitched in a game since last Sunday. Not day before yesterday, but the Sunday before that, May the 29th. And the team has sent him down to Double-A Carolina to continue his rehab work. That occurred today. Ramirez leading off the Chicago second inning of a scoreless game, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Batting average not bad for Aramis Ramirez, but boy, the production numbers, the run production numbers are way down.
You know, you can say that really about the Cubs as a whole. They are second in the National League this year in team batting average. They're ahead of the Reds, just behind the St. Louis Cardinals, but their run production, their home runs are not even in the same area as either of those teams.
As soon as I say that, he launches one into right field, but Bruce got to it in time but couldn't make the play. And that'll be a double for Aramis Ramirez.
That ball, I think, really fooled Jay Bruce because it was caught in kind of a swirl wind. The wind is blowing pretty good down the river from the west. It's blowing out towards left center field, but this ball kind of gets caught up in it, and the spin that Aramis Ramirez puts on that ball just kind of makes that ball continue to try to get away from Jay Bruce, and Bruce unable to negotiate it, and that goes in for a double. It looks like a lot easier play than it is.
So now Blake DeWitt, the left fielder, looks at ball 1 low and away. DeWitt really swinging a hot bat right now. Raised his batting average 53 points in the last 7 games alone. He has 10 hits in his last 26 at bats. He had a 3-hit game here last night, including a double. And Volquez, for a second straight batter, has fallen behind 2-0. We talked about the first inning, which was such a major hurdle for Volquez to begin this year. But tonight now 4 of his starts. He's made 11 total, where he is not allowed to run in the first inning. 2-1 the count on Blake DeWitt. 3-1. Getting base hits is not a problem for the Cubs. Their .280 batting average a team with no one on base is the best in all of Major League Baseball. The best. Slightly ahead of St. Louis. But when you put runners in scoring position, they are 24th in the major leagues with a .235 average. No problem here for DeWitt. That ball is clobbered into right center field. Back-to-back doubles, and the Cubs have a 1-0 lead. Well, you fall behind 2-0, you fall behind 3-1. You're just asking for trouble.
Well, especially when you come in exactly what the hitter is looking for, and that's a 3-1 fastball. Well, you talk about a nice level swing. Look at, he puts that on that ball. 95, that doesn't matter. For Blake DeWitt, that's hitting speed. You get it up right there, right in the center of that sweet spot.
Tony Campana, young man, we saw him make his major league debut right here in this ballpark. Pitch is taken down around his feet for ball 1.
You know, Tom, you can fall behind hitters if you have good control, and you can throw that 3-1 fastball. It doesn't have to be 95 like the one that Volquez just threw to DeWitt, but it's got to be down around the knees on the corner. Make DeWitt hit a pitcher's pitch, even in a hitter's count. And when you've got a pitcher like Volquez who has struggled with his control, and he just kind of rears back on a 3-1 count and tries to fog it by the hitter, even 95 is not fast enough.
It's 2-0.
And that really ought to be a lesson to a lot of the young pitchers that are out there watching this ball game, is that it's so much more important to throw the ball where you want to than try to get it there faster down the middle.
Out in front of the plate, not a good bunt. Campana can fly, and then he falls down, hitting the bag, and he appears to be in a lot of pain. He reached immediately either for the left ankle or the left foot. Young man from Springboro High School just outside of Cincinnati. Told you he played collegiately at the University of Cincinnati, and we hope he's going to be all right.
You know, he went to the bag in kind of a funny motion. He almost bent his body like he was trying to avoid hitting Joey Votto. Now, Votto was near the bag and near the baseline, but that belongs to the fielder right there. Campana needs to be on the outside of the baseline, and he's not running where he ought to be running, and he clips the bag as he goes past. He was blazing up the line. But you see where he is. He's actually on the fair side of the baseline. He's on this side up here, where you really ought to be running in that running lane down there. And that's one of the reasons why he put himself in a bad position. Slipped on the very top of the bag right there. Unfortunately, he's not hurt. He's going to get up and walk back to the dugout.
Well, using those legs is how Campana made his mark in the minor leagues and is playing here at the major leagues. 144 stolen bases in a little less than 4 full minor league seasons. So good to see. Appears to be just fine. So he fails to advance the runner DeWitt, who still stays at second base. And now the number 8 hitter Giovanni Soto settling in. 213 batter is Soto. Breaking ball almost hit him. 3 home runs and 12 knocked in.
Pretty good hitter for a former Rookie of the Year, batting the number 8 spot. You just wonder what happened to Soto after that first year when he came on the scene and just tore up National League pitching.
One and 0 to Soto. DeWitt leads at second. DeWitt has knocked in the game's first run. Back-to-back doubles by Aramis Ramirez, and then the one to knock him in by DeWitt. Volquez pitching from behind every batter here in this Cubs second inning. 2-0 on Ramirez, 3-1 on DeWitt, 2-1 now on Soto. And there's a base hit into right field. They're going to hold the runner at third as Bruce comes up firing. And the Cubs have him on the corners. Still only one out.
Oh, nice job of hitting right here by Soto, just trying to stay inside the ball, and he does exactly that. That's a fastball by Edinson Volquez, and up a little higher than he wanted it, but not all that bad of a pitch.
Well, now Ramon Hernandez is going to come out to the mound, talk with Volquez, and Miguel Cairo going to listen in.
Well, there's no speed on the base pass, so they're not talking about a double steal or any such nonsense like that. They are talking about how they may defend against this bunt. It may be just a straight sacrifice by Doug Davis to go ahead and try to advance the runner from first to second, stay out of a double play that would end the inning. Ivan De Jesus coming in to give him a talking to. He was a pretty good player in his day, I'll tell you that, De Jesus.
Of course, we just saw his son. He just got called up to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who were just in town over the weekend. Ball 1 to Davis. Davis 0 for 3 as a batter, has one sacrifice. Cairo creeping in from third. Davis squares, puts it down. Hernandez will look the runner back to third, and Davis advances. Giovanni Soto on to second. 2 out. Well, now a big batter for Edinson Volquez. He's already given up a run in this inning. The Cubs have a pair of runners in scoring position and a good hitter in Fukudome coming up. With the runner at third, Giovanni Soto at second. And it's ball 1 to Fukudome, who struck out leading off the game.
Now, this is really where Edinson Volquez needs to tell himself, it's not how hard I throw right here, it's where I put the pitches. He had a very nice at bat against Fukudome to lead the ball game off. But on that last pitch, it just like he was trying to throw as hard as he could.
One and one.
Pretty good looking backdoor curveball right there.
There's some things that just don't add up. You see those numbers for Fukudome, a .381 batter with runners in scoring position. We talked about the Cubs as a team and how bad they have been in that category, and how good they are hitting with nobody on base. And here you have Fukudome on the year that's batting up over .310 with gaudy numbers, runners in scoring position. Yet he only has 6 runs driven in. It's hard to sort of piece together.
Well, you know, it depends where in the lineup he's hitting. If he's hitting the leadoff spot, he's not getting very many guys on ahead of him.
Three and one the count.
Got a base open.
Boy, Volquez just continues to fall behind every hitter in this inning.
Well, he did not look like he wanted to give Fukudome, who is a very good fastball hitter, a fastball to hit in that situation. He threw him a curveball, he threw him changeups, he threw another curveball, he finally walked him on a 3-1 changeup. And I think he'd rather take his chances with the young second baseman Darwin Barney.
Even though, of course, Barney smoked one into right center field for a base hit in the Chicago first inning.
He did. He jumped on a first pitch fastball that was pretty much right down Broadway. Now that you really need to get a base hit, pressure's on the hitter, not the pitcher. You got to stay back. Stay back over the rubber long enough to let your arm catch up with your body, and that's what Volquez's last delivery did not do.
Bases loaded. Cubs leading 1-0. Threw a fastball right by him there. It even accounted a ball and a strike.
And now you got him set up to use your other pitches, and more likely a changeup than a curveball.
1 ball, 1 strike on Darwin Barney. Bases loaded and 2 men are out. Swing and a miss, and the bat goes flying all the way past the very end of the Cub dugout.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to measure how good a pitcher's changeup is. But when you get that much yardage on a bat throw, you've got a pretty good combo working. So now Barney's thinking, all right, I don't want to do that again. That was embarrassing. Have to call timeout, go get my bat back. It's all nicked up now because it banged around on the cement. And meanwhile, Volquez is thinking, hey, maybe I can sneak this fastball by you about eye high on the outer part of the plate.
They're loaded for the Cubs, leading 1-0 here in the second inning. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Darwin Barney.
Had a changeup grip in his hand. Now we'll wonder if Volquez will change that.
All right, Edinson ready.
That's the changeup coming.
Just a little bit low.
Now this is where you want to get a decision on a 2-2 count.
DeWitt, Soto, and Fukudome aboard. Votto playing a good 25 feet off the first base line. Barwin, we've seen, can really hit it the other way, and the 2-2 is nowhere close to the plate. So now the runners get started on a 3-2 pitch, and Volquez has already eclipsed the 40 pitch mark here in the second inning. Merry-go-round begins, and here's a payoff pitch, and we'll do it again. Now, we have not seen Barney very much. Obviously, this is his first season in the major leagues. But the games we have seen him, he can wear you out fouling pitches off. For guys who are strike throwers, that's not necessarily a really big deal besides just wearing you out a little bit. For guys that struggle with command, these guys give you fits.
Well, you can see him just waiting, telling himself, I'm not going to get fooled by the off-speed pitch, and I'm just going to flick my bat out there to stay alive by maybe getting a foul ball on a fastball. We see Joey Votto do that a lot. And that can wear you down as a pitcher, not necessarily physically, but mentally. You finally get to the point where, all right, now, we just put the ball in play, please?
Another 3-2 pitch to Barney, and it's a ground ball to the second baseman. So Volquez able to retire Barney and leave him loaded. Cubs get a run and lead 1-0.
You know, he saw us run 20 straight, day off, and then a bunch of straight, again straight. So you just got to bring it every day. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, a couple line outs and then boom, you know, 2 hits with a home run, you know, following day.
Our Geico Direct quote from Johnny Gomes, who has struggled so mightily to begin this 2011 year, really after slumping over the final couple of months of last year.
I mean, he's got a long way to go. I mean, you know, just because he had a great game yesterday doesn't mean that he's locked in like Jay Bruce. But we've seen him in the past, and he's got the capability of being hot and carrying the ball club for a short period of time, a week or 2 or 3. And sometimes you don't know what it is. It's like all of a sudden the switch goes on, and there you are. You're seeing the ball, and it's coming to you, and you're putting the bat on it.
Well, Johnny to lead things off against Doug Davis. Cubs have a 1-0 lead here in the second inning. Miguel Cairo to follow, and then Ramon Hernandez. Strike one to Johnny. Davis walked Joey Votto in the first inning after 2 were out, but took care of Jay Bruce to end the frame on a fly ball to left. Davis making his 4th start, and he has lost all 4 thus far since being brought up from the minor leagues. Now, his last start, he actually threw the ball pretty well against Houston. 6 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs, 8 hits, did not walk a batter. The start prior to that, he walked 6 in 4 2/3 against the Pirates.
Well, he's always seemed to have pitched very well against the Reds. In fact, in the 16 games he's pitched against the Reds, Davis's team, whoever he's been on, has won 10 and only lost 6. He personally is 6-3 against the Reds. Has not given up more than 3 runs since 2009 against the Reds ball club. I mean, he's had complete game shutouts. He's had several games where he's gone 8 or 9 innings, given up 1 run or less. You look at his stuff and you say, how did that happen? But he gives you one of those comfortable 0 for 4s. All of a sudden you look up and you're 0 for.
Three balls and a strike on Johnny Gomes, and Davis trying to work him in. That's the one thing you notice about Davis. Not a hard thrower, but boy, he's never been afraid to pitch inside on guys, even with a fastball, like you said, Chris, around 85, 86, 87 miles an hour.
Well, he's such an experienced pitcher now that he knows what his stuff can do. He's not ever tempted anymore to rear back and try to just throw it as hard as he can out of frustration or whatever else. He knows that his best opportunity to get a hitter out is give the hitter a chance to get himself out.
Payoff pitch coming to Gomes. And it's pulled down the left field line. A base hit for Johnny. Over to get it is Blake DeWitt. And that's a leadoff single for the Reds left fielder here in the second inning.
Really like this at bat by Johnny Gomes. He got down 0-1. This is a big roundhouse curveball shown by our Exmo, brought to you by Performance Honda. And Johnny Gomes just stays right on it. Keeps his head still, puts a nice level swing on it, and picks up a base hit. So see the ball a little bit better.
Gomes with 5 stolen bases in 7 attempts. Here's Miguel Cairo. He takes a strike. Cairo again in there for Scott Rowland, who came down with a case of strep throat. He's feeling better, but they want to make sure he's back at 100% before they get him back in there.
Or get him on that crowded airplane all the way from here to San Francisco.
Two and one to Cairo. St. Louis Cardinals will be back in action tonight. The Reds, with their win, picked up a half game on the front-running Redbirds. They start a series tonight down at Minute Maid Park in Houston. 2-2 to Cairo. I'd like to tell you, you can get a $34 field box seat for any game during the Toronto Blue Jays series for just $24. Go to Reds.com/Ticket Tuesday right now and save $10 on a field box seat for the Reds and Blue Jays, June 17th, 18th, and 19th. That'll be a weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. And, of course, the Yankees come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week. And there's a bouncing ball. Ramirez dives, throws, and just does get going. It's a nice play down there by Ramirez.
But he goes a couple of steps to his left. Ramirez does. He's well off the bag right there. And he takes a base hit away from Miguel Cairo. That's a nice play. Had there not been a man on first base, there's no way that you would have gotten Cairo at first. So the fielder's choice and one down.
Now Ramon Hernandez. Batting average at .320, 7 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Cubs lead 1-0. They got back-to-back doubles in the second inning against Edinson Volquez by Aramis Ramirez and Blake DeWitt. The Cubs would go on to load the bases before Volquez retired Darwin Barney on a ground ball to Brandon Phillips. Of course, the Cubs came limping into this series to start it with a 6-game losing streak. They went to a season-high 7 with a loss here last night. And they are in an even 12 games under 500. Mike Quaddy, of course, took over for Lou Piniella, whose mother became ill about 2/3 of the way through last season. Piniella wound up retiring, and Quade took over, and the Cubs played very good baseball. I mean, it was a terrible year, make no mistake about it. But they went 24-13 under Quade, and to the surprise of Sylvain, he got the managerial job full-time, removing that interim tag over certainly the fan favorite Ryne Sandberg, former great second baseman, Hall of Fame second baseman for all those years with the Cubs.
Of course, Ryne Sandberg was managing in the Cubs AAA organization, managing the AAA club, and as soon as he did not get the job, he jettisoned out of the Cubs organization and hooked up as a manager with the Phillies.
Which is ironic because, of course, Sandberg started his professional career with the Philadelphia Phillies. Double play ball here, and this will do it in the inning. So a leadoff hit by Gomes, but no damage. We move to the third, where the Cubs have a 1-0 lead.
That is lower. I know it may be hard to see, but if you get a good look at it, this is clearly a higher arm angle on the fastball than the changeup. And that's what Edinson Volquez has done really throughout his career. When he throws that changeup, it's natural to try to drop your arm a little bit so you hurry your elbow through and turn the ball over. But that's one thing that Mario Soto's tried to get into his head time after time. You've got to have the same release point, or a big league hitter will pick that up immediately and know what's coming.
Starlin Castro to lead things off here in the Chicago third inning. 1 run, 4 hits for the Cubs. They've left 4 men on base. Reds with a hit and 1 man left. To Castro, and it's a bouncing ball right at Votto. And he'll feed Volquez at the bag. 1 out. Well, for Reds player, it's a Toyota sign out in right center field during our game tonight. Jeff and Susan Moore of Cincinnati, who currently owns a Sienna, will win the beautiful new Tundra. There you see it on display here at Great American Ballpark every day. And you can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game by stopping by your Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Hello there to you folks out there on the Cincinnati Bell riverboat deck. It's got to be a little toasty up there, I would imagine.
Yeah, but they've got a nice breeze blowing. That breeze coming in from the west right down the river. May feel more like a furnace breeze right now, but it's something going. They've got some cold refreshments up there, I think, to keep them cool.
I think that's probably a real safe bet. Carlos Pena struck out, ending the first inning.
Well, you'd like to get him on a fastball. They struck him out on a fastball the first time, but set him up with the off-speed stuff first. This guy's got a ton of power. You leave a ball out over the plate, he can hit it about as far as anyone.
Pena, in his first season as a Cub, signed a 1-year contract coming over from Tampa Bay. We started to touch on it a little bit last night. Of course, all the speculation, and it started back in spring training. It continued last